cosmic soldier. Give me space and I'm in a good place. Very serious, mysterious, mind makes right. In for the fight. Starlight out on starlight out on starlight out on cosmic soldier. Give me space and I'm in a good place. Very serious, mysterious, mind makes right. In for the fight. Starlight out on starlight out on
What is up, you beautiful motherfuckers? How you guys doing? Today we're going to be talking about American class warfare. And I got a couple videos pulled up because there's not a lot, the anti-communist movements and anti-leftist movements in America have left a bad taste in people's mouth when it comes to labor movements. And what's up, Lawrence? How you doing? I was going to come back for my break yesterday, but I was enjoying my peace and quiet. I'm going to probably be taking frequent breaks more often because it feels good and I like it. I can't wait for all this fucking rain to stop as well, because when it's not raining, I have to drive and go do stuff. And when it is raining, I can't go do my targets and stuff because it's been so fucking just rainy the past week and a half, and it's supposed to keep going until Tuesday, I think it is. Yeah, it's supposed to keep raining until the 2nd. So hopefully I can get the fucking targets put together. I'm not gonna stream long. Drop a link, Lawrence. No, Jamie did not tell me about the demonic guru guy you saw this morning. That's crazy. That is crazy. I have something a little funny if you're a nerd. It's 1 minute and 42 seconds. It's unrelated. If you're a nerd, you might never mind. I'm not gonna waste time with that. Let's see. So we'll watch this video first. Please like and share the video, everybody. It's going to be a very short stream. Because, like I said, I'm just trying to ease back into it, and I got a lot of stuff to take care of. So, because I got some work I got to do. I took a break from everything except for personal dealings the past 3 days. So, and by the way, feel free to join. It's an open panel. What's up, the Panelverse? How you doing, broski? But yeah, let's share with this. I'm gonna drop the link to the video in the chat. Please like and subscribe to the original video. But let's go. And I got to put this banner up because there are firearms shown in this documentary. So here we go.
It's 1974 in Harlan County, Kentucky. In the darkness before dawn, a line of striking coal miners and their wives block the road.
And I want to point something out too. Labor movements in America, at least from my knowledge, were primarily up north in the manufacturing and down south in the resource extractions, i.e. mining. And one of my mentors when I was in Job Corps was a coal miner back in the day, and he would tell us about the Union busting attempts and then the Union countering the Union busting attempts. And it was like a really cool and awesome story, to be completely honest. Like, really awesome story. So, and I noticed that this takes place in Harlan, Kentucky. Well, my mentor in Job Corps and where I went to Job Corps was Kentucky. So, and I think the mentor in Job Corps actually took part in these, because he would tell me stories how Union busters would attack them, and they wouldn't use their weapons for like defense or to harm the Union busters. They would use their weapons to bust out engine blocks of the scabs coming into work or the company trucks trying to transport scabs. And it's a story that kind of gets buried by America, because even though my Job Corps teacher was very pro-union, he was very anti-communist, very anti-socialist. And the government tried to paint these people as like communist sympathizers and socialists. And from the people that I met, very few of those people were actually communists and socialists. Most of them were actually Republicans or conservatives. So it's a very weird dichotomy, because you see, and I think you'll see it even in this video. I've only watched like a third of the way through it, but you see like the left and socialists and communists try to co-opt labor movements and people trying to earn a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. And I think that it's very important for us Americans to understand the history of our labor movements in this country.
Road to the mine. Then the gun thugs arrive. And then something happens that filmmaker Barbara Kopple won't notice until the footage is developed. The leader of the gun thugs, Basil Collins, aims his pistol out the window of his truck. But just before he fires, he looks directly into the camera lens and pulls the gun back in. Instead, his men knock Kopple and her cameraman to the ground and beat them. But what makes the scene even more terrifying is what Kopple didn't know at the time. Because she was making a film about the strike, there was a hit on her head, and Basil Collins was aiming at her. So when the camera keeps rolling, it isn't just recording violence. It's also preventing something worse. That's the contradiction at the center of Kopple's film, Harlan County, USA. The camera is there to observe reality, but everyone in Harlan understands that the camera is also changing it. Kopple would even bring the camera to the picket line when she had no film left, because the presence of the camera alone could hold back violence. That's why.
And this right here is one of the things that makes it very easy for the left to garner sympathy. Because when it's your state police, and like when we went over the Blair Mountain, you even seen the federal government sit in the National Guard to literally bomb U.S. citizens demanding, safe working conditions, better pay, an honest day's pay for an honest day's work. And like this is something that we, the people of the United States, need to understand, because this class warfare has never ended. Right, me and Dennison and a lot of us come up here and talk all the time on the show. And this is a little impromptu thing. I did reach out to Chuck and Dennison, but they are very busy today. And I'll just sit up here and monologue because some people like that. One of the thing is they are able to garner this sympathy because it's our own fucking government working against us with corporate interests. And what you see today is less violence and more replacement. The corporations that are left in the U.S. have the mentality of, well, if you demand a working wage, we'll just bring in the third world for cheap labor. And that's the thing. It's all in this country. It's always been corporate or robber baron interest versus the people. And there is no left-right dichotomy there. It's literally the rich wish to oppress you, and this country was built on freedom. Like, America is the place tyrants come to die. So it's a very interesting historical dichotomy in the U.S. Like our I hate to say it because it makes me sound like a lefty commie, but our dichotomy is not left versus right. It's always been rich versus poor. And when you have a country that is founded on freedom, like, and this is where I like talking to Grid about these things, because I truly believe that people like Grid and the people that aren't actual like massive corporations, like international corporations, they deserve their wealth. Like, people deserve to keep what they kill. Like, to quote Riddick, because that was an awesome movie. Like, people deserve to keep what they make. But at the same time, if you're going to run a business, people deserve a living wage. People deserve safety regulations. And especially if they're going to be working 12-hour shifts. Like, we work to support our families. We don't live to work. We work to live. And this is something that the U.S. has struggled with since its inception. Right? And, like, you'll hear conservatives and other people griping about family values and how the family is destroyed. Well, when you give workers shitty conditions and shitty pay, they're not going to have the families necessary for the survival of the nation. And that's where me and my ideology come in, but I digress. We'll watch a little bit more of this video. It's only 13 minutes long.
This documentary doesn't feel like a history lesson. It feels like footage smuggled out of a war between workers and a company that owns their labor, their town, their police, and maybe even the story the rest of America gets to hear. But by the end, who actually wins? The company relying on fear, money, and the greed of individuals, or the workers relying on solidarity, sacrifice, and the donated labor of people like Koppel? And how many people had to die before the company would come to the table and reach some sort of agreement? But these miners weren't only fighting Duke Power and its subsidiary, Eastover Mining. They were also living in the aftermath of a bloody civil war inside the very union that was supposed to protect them. A civil war that ended with an entire family murdered in their sleep. So as Barbara Koppel tells the story of the strike in Harlan County, she cuts back to archival footage from just a few years earlier, when the United Mine Workers of America was at war with itself. The UMWA was the largest.
And this is something that a lot of people don't know about, and I wasn't aware of it being this bad. But by and large, many of the largest unions in this country have sold out their workers and the people that they're supposed to support. Like the union I was a part of, literally when you read the handbook they give you, one of the first things tell you is like, yeah, we gave up our right to strike for extra benefits, like automatic extra benefit review, and a certain amount of increase in wages. The problem is those increase in wages don't keep up with inflation. They don't keep up with economic pressure. And the benefits are at the review of the corporation, so they can cut benefits like dental, vision, like anything like that. And your union has no recourse. It signed a document saying that it can no longer strike. It can no longer do these things. So the labor movements in America are not even really for labor. They're left-wing. They've been co-opted by left-wing agitators. And you can tell because even in America, the left wing is largely corporatized. They largely favor corporate interests over the labor. So laborers get fucked over no matter which left, right, or center. That's why I say the left-right dichotomy is gay and doesn't exist.
Largest and most powerful.
It's all theater.
Coal miners union in the country, the institution that was supposed to stand between miners and the coal companies. But by the late 1960s, under President Tony Boyle, the union had become corrupt, undemocratic, and too close to the industry it was supposed to fight. So Jacques Yablonsky challenged Boyle for the presidency, running on a promise to clean up the union and return power to the mine.
And I don't know if this same problem is exactly what it is today, but what I know today is like there are similar problems. It's like the union is no longer ran by members of the industry. It's a bunch of lawyers and executives who are in the union, have infiltrated the unions and the labor movements. So even it's become like the unions have become a corporation of their own that survive totally off union dues and laborers understanding the importance of organization, but having no other choice because the infrastructure is already in place. And I mean, it would be very hard to start a union out of a union because you would get situations like this. You get civil wars within unions, and then the whole point, like the workers begin to get fucked up even more, and the whole point gets kind of moot at that point.
Miners.
Well, the coal miners in this country are damn sick and tired of having a national president of its organization that's in bed with the coal operators.
When Yablonsky lost, he accused Boyle of stealing the election and asked the Department of Labor to investigate. But before that investigation could even begin, the union's corruption turned violent. On New Year's Eve 1969, Jock Yablonsky, his wife Margaret, and his daughter Charlotte were shot to death in their home.
The events in Washington, Pennsylvania show that murder is as institutionalized within the UMWA as it is in the mafia.
Tony Boyle would later be convicted of ordering the assassination, an order that was meant to end the reform movement, but that instead gave birth to Miners for Democracy, a rank-and-file movement to take back the union.
This is the year for Miners for Democracy, to throw Boyle and his crowd out for once and for all.
And that's why Barbara Kopple was in Kentucky in the first place. She originally set out to film Miners for Democracy, but when reform candidate Arnold Miller won the UMW presidency and promised to organize the unorganized, Kopple followed that promise to Harlan County. So Brookside became more than a local strike. It became the first major test of a union that had just survived corruption, assassination, and internal rebellion.
What's up, brother? How you doing, David? Thank you for coming.
Could the UMWA actually protect miners on the ground, or would the company still decide what their lives were worth? But the battle to reclaim the union was only the latest chapter in a much older war. For decades, miners had been fighting coal operators in some of the bloodiest labor battles in American history. So when Kopple followed the union into Kentucky, she wasn't walking into a blank space. She was walking into a place that already had a name in American labor history: Bloody Harlan. In Harlan County, union organizing had never been abstract politics. It was inherited memory. It was something passed down through stories and songs.
Harlan County had to have historical material as well as current material to really let you have that deep understanding of where these people came from. And
Before we continue with this video, one of the songs that I love the most is from Brad Paisley, and it's "You'll Never Make It Out of Harlan Alive." And like it really oh man, it's a 5-minute song. I'll play some of it. I won't play it all. But it's a very good song. That is one of my favorite songs, along with "What Side Are You On?" And I'll play that later once we get through with the documentary. And a lot of people don't know the history of labor movements and don't know just how shitty our government and corporations have been to us. And then, like, every chance they get, they send our jobs overseas. They fuck us over in any labor dispute they can. And like, it's hard to not have sympathy with leftists when you know the actual history of it. And like, it puts me in a very weird situation, because like I'm anti-commie, anti-leftist, but when you also factor things in, the reason I'm that way, when you also factor things in like the environmentalist movement that has done its own part to screw over Appalachia and resource extraction like mining, which comes from the left. It's also been found out that movement has largely been funded by foreign powers since its inception, first the Soviet Union and now China, to specifically weaken the United States So it's very funny how all this plays into account, because I want to blanketly side with the workers and side with the poor folks because I am them. But when you see all the pieces coming together, it's very hard to figure out, which side you are on exactly, because like you see shit like this documentary, you see like the government coercing with corporate interests, and it makes it very difficult. So let's get some more of the documentary in.
And what their culture was all about, and the music that tied them all together, because coal miners are so geographically isolated that the music sometimes tells the stories of what they're going through.
I got sand in my heart. Both lungs were broke down.
And that history is why one of the most important pieces of music in the film was already decades old before the Brookside strike began.
Now, this song I composed in the 30s. And as you know, I'm old, that's 40 years ago, and I can't sing very well. But you can ask the scabs and the gun thugs which side they're on, because they're workers too. Come all you poor workers, good news to you I'll tell, how the good old Union has come in here to dwell. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? If you go to Harlan County, there is no neutral there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
The woman who wrote the anthem for the 30s labor war is still there, singing it during the New War.
And here's the thing, make no mistake, this is the "Which Side Are You On" is a socialist and leftist propaganda song, but there is so much fucking truth to it that you have to ask yourself, which side are you on? And here is this song. By the way, the background image is unrelated to the song. It is a it's just unrelated to the song. I don't know exactly where this one comes from, but the song is very good.
All of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell, of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
And that's one of the reasons why I like American folk music, because it's so important to understand the meaning behind it and understand the history that our great nation has. Because yeah, while it's socialist communist shit, like I've always said, like capitalists create the best communists because if you didn't have these rich assholes doing the things they did to maximize every ounce of profit, you wouldn't have needs for workers to organize under socialism. And like, I think that there's an alternative. You don't have to organize under socialism, but workers definitely need to organize, because that's their only way to fight back against corporate interests. And corporate interests do not align with your interests.
And Koppel doesn't pretend to stand neutrally outside that war. She chooses a side, not by narrating over the film or telling the audience what to think, but by where she puts the camera, who she follows with it, and what dangers her and her crew are willing to face along the way. Most importantly, the camera wasn't merely documenting events. It was used as a tool to change them. Her camera gives the strikers something they otherwise don't have, a witness. And in a place like Harlan, that matters. Because without the camera, the company controls the story. A picket line can be broken in the dark, and afterward, the people with the money can decide what officially happened. Koppel disrupts that. Not because the camera makes the miners safe, exactly. It clearly doesn't, but it changes what the company and its hired men can do without consequence. That's why Koppel would bring the camera to the picket line even when she had no film left, because the footage wasn't the only thing that...
And that media control, that control apparatus that they're talking about in this video about the documentary, it's never changed. They maintain that today. Look at how the mainstream media divides us. Look at how they approach every single issue with a certain spin. Right? They say they're for the workers, but yet it never gets better. They say they're for the workers, but then they import 1 million people a year that drives down wages, at minimum stagnates wages. It takes away the power of the workers to organize. And it's if you look at it, it's not a white, black, Asian, Indian thing. It's literally what these corporations and government and corporate interests have done. And it's nothing new. Like, this is what I've talked to people back when I was a white nationalist about. Like, it doesn't change. The way that they manipulate you changes. They pitch you against one another. Yeah, it's mob behavior. And they're a family and you're not in it. It's George Carlin said it's a big club and you're not in it. And none of this has changed. It's just the skin color and the voice that changes as things progress in the United States.
Mattered. The threat of footage mattered too. But even though the presence of the camera helped to protect the picket line, it also made the person holding it a target.
Everybody had guns, and you could just feel the juice in your mouth, that juice of fear, wondering, they're probably going to blow us away first because they don't want us to film it, because nobody wants to look at this in living color.
And Koppel's willingness to put herself in danger in order to protect the strikers is what made the community trust and accept her as one of their own. She was invited in and spent 16 months living with the strikers in their homes with no running water or indoor plumbing. She followed them to the picket lines, filmed their meetings, their arguments, their songs, their funerals, and the long stretches where nothing happened except waiting and fear. You don't just learn what the strike is about, you experience where they're coming from, why they're doing it, and what it takes from them.
And that changes a lot, right? That changes an absolute lot. When you understand and you can empathize with the people that are doing something, and our government would paint these people as communists and socialists, as against America, but they're literally being the most American they can be. Our founding fathers stated that we must fight tyranny and oppression where we find it. And that's why I argue, that's why I'll never be a libertarian. Sorry, Flo. But our founders were very well versed on corporate oppression, corporate governance. The East India Company existed well before our nation did. They were very well versed on this, and that's why they stated, fight oppression and tyranny where you find it. And as an American, one thing that makes me proud to be in American is this is where tyrants come to die. It doesn't matter if it's a government, doesn't matter if it's a corporation, doesn't matter if it's just some regular douchebag trying to be a piece of shit. And like that's the pride that we should all have in this country.
It also gives the real heroes of this movie, the women, a chance to shine. They see what the work does to their husbands' bodies. They deal with the bills, the fear, the injuries, the black lung, and the possibility that when their husband or son leaves for the mine, they may not come home. So when the company gets a law passed that only 3 striking miners can stand on a picket line at one time, the women take advantage. After all, that law doesn't apply to them. They fill out the picket lines, block roads, confront strikebreakers, and in doing so, they change the emotional center of the film. The strike is no longer just about wages and benefits. It becomes about whether generations of coal families have any control over the conditions of their own lives. That's why Koppel's lack of neutrality doesn't feel like a flaw. The film is clearly on the side of the miners, but it earns that position by showing the imbalance of power. So when Florence Reese sings, "Which Side Are You On?", the question doesn't feel like a slogan from the past. It feels like the movie's entire method.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?
Despite being targeted by
Absolutely. If you want to, you can.
Basil Collins and the other gun thugs, Koppel and her cameraman made it out of that confrontation alive, with footage that proved what happened. But unfortunately, the strike wouldn't end without a death. After more than a year on the picket line, a young striking miner named Lawrence Jones was shot and killed by a mine foreman.
Who shot him? Some goddamn scab? Bill Bruner?
Koppel's camera doesn't capture the shooting itself, but it does capture the aftermath, the grief, the anger, and the sense that this was the inevitable moment everyone had expected and feared since the strike began.
The contract is what we are fighting for. That's what Lawrence Jones died for. To get a contract. But every contract that we've ever got has been hard. We've had to fight for it. I've been all around the blood. Shed back down in the 30s. Blood all around me. Where a man died right around my feet.
And that our government and corporations would slander these men as communists, right? And at the time, communists were the enemy. And it saddens me that they would do this to honest working people. When these people genuinely just want to take care of their families. These people genuinely just want to lead honest lives.
For a contract.
Once Jones was killed, the company could no longer treat the strike as a local inconvenience. The violence was now too public, and the cost of refusing a union contract was starting to outweigh the cost of signing one. So Eastover finally came to the table, and the Brookside miners won their contract. But the victory was also narrow. Most of the mines in Harlan County remained non-union. The work was still dangerous, and the company still had money, lawyers, political influence, and time.
If one of our people had shot any company man throughout this strike, he'd be serving 25 years now. Bill Bruner is scot-free.
So the film doesn't end by pretending the war is over. It ends by showing what it takes just to win one battle. As Koppel puts it,
for me, it was just incredibly important to think that you just can't rest after one thing happens, that you just have to go on to the next struggle, on to the next fight.
And Koppel's camera helps make sure that fight can't be rewritten or forgotten. It gives the miners a witness. And in a place where violence has so often happened in the dark, being seen gives the powerless a way to fight back. So by the end, the question isn't just whether the Brookside miners won their contract. They did. The harder question is, why did winning require so much suffering in the first place? And what does it say about America that a worker's dignity only becomes negotiable once denying it becomes bad for business?
Well, all I'm saying about that is there was a party in the 1930s that stood for the workers' dignity and the nation as a whole. But I digress. And that's the thing. Like, struggle will always be abound. Like, unfortunately, people have to pass to like that freedom and dignity. And I hate to say it like this, fairness, because it'll always be unevenly yoked against the poor and the worker. Because somebody else, and this is why I don't like communism in the left, somebody else did invest, whether it be a group of people or person, to build that mine, to build that infrastructure. They deserve profit. Well, they don't deserve profit because profit's not guaranteed, but they have the right to pursue profit. And there has to be some type of balance or equilibrium between the workers and their rights and needs and profit. I don't see, like, my thing is, I don't want to take away profit from the industrial magnates and business owners, but I also don't want to see them profiting over the worker and destroying families just for it, if that makes sense. And we will cover the Battle of Blair Mountain just because I like this one and it's a short story. It is a short story. It's fucking awesome. And then I'm going to hop up out of here because I did my little spiel. And if anybody wants to come up, they're more than welcome. But I'm going to bounce out of here if nobody comes up. What's up, D? How you doing, darling? But and that's the thing. Like, you have to find that balance between the right for the people who invest to seek profit and the rights of the workers. And I think that balance is very easy to find. It's just greed and political influence keep that from happening. By the way, if you guys like the show, you like these topics, you don't like the drama, please consider a donation to keep the show going and to help me out personally. And I will be back. I'm still yeah, if you want to get in the Discord, you can. I'll give you a role and you can chat in there. Well, I mean, like, hey, my entire political ideology is around finding that balance. You know, there's been 80 years of propaganda against it because both the communists and capitalists fear it. Because it's about the people, the nation, and most importantly, people's families. That's why they've had to have 80 years of ruthless propaganda and lies. You know, I mean, I'm not a leftist or a communist, and I support capitalism because I think people have a right to do what they want with their money and invest into their futures and own property.
August 25th.
Well, that and we as Americans, we need to understand the struggle that our ancestors have endured since the founding of this country. Most of this history is not something that is taught about in schools. It's not discussed. It's buried down for whatever reason. I'm not going to try to put a political narrative on it because I just want to discuss the facts and my opinions on it. But it took a long time for me to learn about this stuff in my life. And I've always thought about it personally. But if you guys want to donate, keep this stuff going because I do plan on turning most of this stream because I'm not gonna deal with the drama personally anymore. I don't give a fuck. I've told anybody who's asked me and I brushed it off. I don't care. If people, we can have open chill sessions and whatnot, but I just want to talk about certain topics from now on. Because it's like that shit doesn't serve my purposes and it's honestly beneath me. A very wise man, and I'm paraphrasing, basically said to me and taught me, what does the sheep care about the lion? You know? What does the lion care about the sheep? It's irrelevant bullshit. So, lions roar, sheeps bleat.
1921 saw the largest armed uprising in the US at the time since the Civil War. What was this event and what led up to it? Well, let's go back to the coalfields of West Virginia and see how it all came about. It all started with the miners of the area wanting better conditions and treatment from the coal companies. In those days, in those parts, the coal companies owned and controlled everything. They built the towns, homes, general stores, schools, churches, and recreational facilities in the remote areas near the mines. Not only that, but they didn't pay the miners money, but a form of currency called a scrip. The scrip was the only currency allowed to be used in the towns, and so the miners and their families were bound to the areas. They also had to lease their tools from the companies and were forced into what were called yellow dog contracts. Contracts that basically said that if you took a job at the mine, you could not associate with anyone in a union and you couldn't join a union. If you did, you were fired, blacklisted, and evicted, and in many cases beaten on the way out by the guards just for good measure.
Well, that's why I like Christianity. To be fair, Christianity requires a blending of several political systems and prevents the complete adherence to one. I mean, I don't disagree with that. And like the ideology that I propose, it has taken the best of the left and right and combined them into a cohesive understanding. And that's absolutely necessary. I do think that religious-based governments are actually against Christianity because we're supposed to be moral. We're supposed to make that choice. That's why God gave us free will. And if you have a government that enforces certain ideological standards, it kind of goes against Christianity. But that doesn't mean that we have to allow the complete debauchery as well. Because there are rules under heaven, like natural law, and then there are man-made laws. And, you know, God says to respect both of them, if possible. The only time that you're really allowed to rebel or go against the government in Christianity is when they take your right to pray, your right to be, and the right to be. I forgot where I was going with that. Because I saw this. You can't function as a Christian fully buy into any one political system fully. Well, of course not. Because at the end of the day, Christianity, at least how we interact with it in society, it's its own political system. And it evolves throughout the ages.
Despite these strict rules, the miners over the years did make moves to try and unionize with a view to improving things and enacting change. The mining companies, however, used the Baldwin Fouts Detective Agency to force laborers to stay in line. They were gun-toting agents who would quite happily drive through a mining community and spray buildings with bullets at any sign of unrest. This often meant that not just the miners, but their wives and their children were injured and killed. All of this led to the first round of serious resistance. In the spring of 1920, a gunfight broke out between Baldwin Fouts agents and a pro-union group which included the West Virginia police chief. 10 people were killed, including the town's mayor. Less than a year later, after the chief was acquitted by a local jury on charges that related to that fight, Baldwin Fouts agents gunned down both the police chief and his deputy on the courthouse steps. This was the spark for the Battle of Blair Mountain. The assassination of the Union-supporting police chief and his deputy fired up between 10,000 and 13,000 miners who set about waging war against a force of around 3,000, made up of men of the Baldwin Fouts Company, the coal companies, and eventually even federal troops sent by President Harding. Fights and skirmishes happened across the territory for around a week from the 25th of August. Even though the Baldwin Fouts agents and their fellows were outnumbered, a combination of holding the high ground on Blair Mountain, superior firepower, and even the use of military aircraft to bomb the rebels allowed them to hold out. It was only when the president sent in federal troops that Bill Blizzard, one of the leaders of the uprising, realizing that a lot of good miners would be killed in future fighting, put the call out for them to stand down and start heading home.
i.e. he got paid off. I stand by that 10 toes down. He got his fucking pocket lined and he's all right, time to go home, fellas.
A combined total of around 200 men had died, and after the battle 985 miners were indicted for murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and treason against the state of Virginia. Some were acquitted by sympathetic juries, but others were imprisoned for years, with the last one paroled in 1925. Ultimately, it was a Pyrrhic victory for the coal companies, because even though the rebels lost the Battle of Blair Mountain, in the long term, the battle raised awareness of the appalling conditions miners faced in the dangerous West Virginia coalfields, and years later resulted in a stronger union movement and better conditions for the miners and their families. They set in place a movement that would have a large impact on labor negotiations for years and decades to come.
So there's an issue I have with Joe's question, right? Because it's very pointed. OG, can Andrew be Christian and be a proponent of force doctrine? Yes, because there's a time and place for everything under heaven. I'm not going to participate in the drama bullshit, whether it be mine or anyone else's, because it is just that bullshit. So, and everybody knows Flo is my homie. All this Andrew Wilson stuff stems from that shit. I don't care. It's none of my business. If you want to discuss certain things, ask certain questions like that, I prefer you to come up and ask them and us discuss them. But from now on, I'm just not participating in it because it's stupid. The drama shit's stupid. Lately, I felt more and more like snatching souls and having far less grace to be fair. I mean, that's understandable. Well, I don't know what the drama is. That's crazy. Oh, you wasn't thinking about that? Fair enough. I mean, fair. Your questions are pretty cool. If you got time here, you can hop up if you want. I don't know if I pinned the link or not. Here, I'll make sure it's pinned yeah, it's pinned. But like, well, I mean, not even force doctrine is just an observation of human nature. At the end of the day, if there's a disagreement between human tribes, there's gonna be force. There's gonna be it just is what it is. But fair enough. So what's the drama about today, Joe? What happened? But no, force doctrine is more of, it's not an ideology, it's not really a doctrine, it's an observation. And it's one of the foundational things of being human, right? Cooperation and force, right? I would say cooperation and coercion. They're very foundational in human interaction. Either you cooperate or you coerce. Either you agree to be a part of society and help at your own leisure, or you're coerced into it by force. And there really is no other choice. That's really the two things you got going on. So I'd say force doctrine and cooperation, or I'll just say it what it is, because it's coercion. Coercion through means of force and violence. You can be coerced via getting a paycheck. Oh, nah. I do got a question for you. I'll text you later, specifically. But no, that's it. Trying to work to earn donos. There were none today. There is no guests that are available that wanted to hop up, and no extension to the show. So I guess I will end it here. If you guys like me talking about these topics, whether it's solo or with guests, let me know. And you vote with your dollar. I can always go back to peddling drama, but it's kind of dumb in my opinion. And it's always, I think it's gotten to the point where it's all kayfabe, even if it's not meant to be. Right? I think it's all fake and gay, even when it's not meant to be. People talk shit. People bitch and complain. People are hypocrites. And I just see, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Hey, people are hypocrites. People are liars. People will say one thing and do the other. And it's not Lilith. It's not just leftists. It's like everybody that I know of. And I see you should be in the Discord. You should have a role, Lilith, if you want to join and say what you were going to say. But yeah, no, much love, guys. I know everybody's struggling. So like I said, I will be here to stream with you guys every so often. Staying mostly out of the drama. What's up, Christine? Do you want to play Marvel Rivals when I get done doing what I got to do? I got to do some work for the next 3 hours. I'm going to wait 30 minutes and start it at the top of the hour. Do that work and turn it in, and I'm free if you want to play Marvel Rivals, because while I'm doing that work, I can move Marvel Rivals to my solid state drive and actually play. But yeah, Abe, I understand where you're coming from. Overall, you're just tired of people. I'm also tired of people. Hypocrisy, lies. It's part of human nature. You can't have the good without the bad. So there's plenty of good folks out there. There's plenty of bad folks out there. It's time we as humans just acknowledge and meet people where they're at. And if we don't want to fuck with people we think are the hypocrites or bad, just walk away. So I do want to keep this content going. Like I said, I'm coming back from a break. I had to take a 3-day break. So like I said, this was short, impromptu. And D, as always, I'm glad to have you. Christine, I'm glad. Lilith, it's always good when you pop in. Joe, I love your perspective. Good to see you, big dog. Abe, I love talking to you. Hopefully I can get you on panel one day to discuss stuff like this. Money me now. I appreciate all donations and tips, but I am out of here. Love you guys. I'll see you either later tonight or tomorrow. More than likely tomorrow, but I'm gonna do a gaming stream, and I'm either gonna play Fortnite with a friend or VR chat with a friend, or do the StarCraft stuff, or do some Star Citizen stuff. Again, Miss D, since you're here, hopefully you're still here. It's been raining like a motherfucker. And then when it's not raining, I have personal stuff I got to take care of. And I actually have to build the target for the archery contest. And I know you're one of the people that donated, and you've held my feet to the fire. Next Tuesday, it's supposed to stop raining, and I will definitely should have time to build that target. So this real life content is coming hell or high water by 2 weeks from now. If I have to do it in the fucking rain, because I've got the cameras charged up. I've got the don't sweat it. That's not what you said before. But I got you, darling. It's coming. I want to do this type of in real life content anyway. And like, it's time. It is time. I'm gonna take you guys to some of my favorite places around where I live, since I've been doxxed, and talk about the history of them. And just start taking pictures of me and Tucker playing. Forgive the kaiju breathing. I am a fat guy. Oh, no, I am going to be chill, Miss D. You don't have to worry about me. I have been resting and relaxing. I do have a lot going on, and that's why I had to take a break. Got to focus on finding a job and getting some money, because there's a lot of stuff going on. So... But I genuinely want to be an actual content creator. And like I said before, I have to invest in me before I expect others to invest in me. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm going to hop up out of here because it is at the 1 hour mark. Love you guys to death. I'll be streaming 1 hour. Fair enough, darling. Fair enough. Oh, God, I just realized that profile picture. Oh, man, she's coming for everybody's organs. Run away. run away. But love you guys to death. Again, I'll be streaming probably 1 hour to 2 hours every day or every other day. I'm still technically on break. I might be on break until the rain lets up and I can start doing the IRL content. But in the IRL content, it's going to be largely unedited. Like, I'm going to edit a couple like faces out because some people don't want to be on stream, but they want to participate and stuff. But it's going to be largely unedited, and it might be janky at first, but it is promises made and promises kept, even though it took forever. Also, before I go, oh my God, you guys, like, I don't think y'all know, like, as an autistic fucker, I found this when I was cleaning out my truck the other day. And, like, I'm so fucking happy. It's my fidget spinner, bro. I've been playing with that bitch. Like, I had mentioned I found it, and Crab told me, it's like, oh, now you can finally let that fucking 1911 slide rest and relax. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm so autistic. I'm going to be playing with both of them. And I have been, like, for the past 2 days. And this is one of these hefty-ass, like, I call them name brand fidget spinners, but, like, it's got the fucking iron or steel in it, and it's got, like, really good ball bearings. And this bitch just spins for days. And, like, I don't know, man. It relaxes me. That and the 1911 slide. And the smiley face. The smiley face makes me happy. So that's kind of awesome. But again, much love, guys. I am out of here as soon as I get my avatar changed. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Starlight outlaw, cosmic soldier. Give me space and I'm in a good place. Very